Welcome to another Tuesday with Kelly and Dan. But tonight we're going to be talking with Matt of Swim University again. Matt, are you ready? I love all your videos, and I think they're great for people in the industry who just started and know nothing. Also for homeowners, it's nice that there's some sort of resource to give them when they can't necessarily afford to take care of their pool, like through a professional or not.
Yeah.
You know, you can't. I know some pool professionals may hate on people for taking care of their pool, but sometimes it's just in the cards.
For sure.
So I will say one thing I liked about your website I did look up is how you approach salt pools and making sure that people understand what a salt pool does. Now, I know you have articles, but do you have videos about what a salt pool is?
We have a couple of them. One of I think our most popular video is about saltwater pool mistakes. So things that, not knowing it's chlorine as an example, or not knowing that the pH is going to be running a little bit high in a saltwater pool and things like that. So that is our most popular video, is our saltwater pool mistakes video.
Okay. What are some of those mistakes that you listed in that video? We don't have to go into
it was a couple years ago,
but just kind of
well, those two,
couple.
The big one, right, is the fact that most people don't know it's a chlorine pool. And I get that even where I am today, this week where we're filming, I talked to the homeowner and I'm like, hey, we're coming over, we're going to film, just I wanted to know what kind of filter she had just so I knew what I was getting into. And she's like, well, it's a saltwater pool. It's not chlorine pool. And I'm like, well, it is a chlorine pool, but it is something that it's kind of on our roster to every quarter to put an email out there or something out there that lets people know that it is what it is. And it's so crazy that the saltwater pool video is our most popular video. And I'm not really sure why, because and maybe you know this better than me, is it because most people now have saltwater pools, or is it because people want saltwater?
I think it's probably a mixture, because I know, so like I said, I do a lot of startups, which also has me working with a lot of builders.
Yeah.
And almost every single pool has a salt generator on it now. I know one did it because she knew that there was a shortage in chlorine going on.
Wow.
And that's a way to kind of benefit the pool for the homeowner. Because when I did have a route, I actually told my customers to go out and get granular chlorine if they could find it. I didn't care what brand it was, as long as they can get it, because I couldn't get liquid chlorine or tabs. And Cal Hypo, that was impossible for almost a month and a half last year.
The two fires,
so
right? There were two fires, right? One in Jersey, one in Louisiana, I think.
Yeah, and I'm just I know this is part of your service, but can you just get this just in case, because this is what's going on. And then other builders, they just want to have some sort of chemical feeder on there to help the customer a little bit better. So yeah, I think there is a huge increase in salt cells. I used to be the kind of person, if you wanted the water to feel softer, then you could put a salt cell, but they're kind of expensive. But now I'm all about the salt cell. I'm also all about an acid feeder tank on pools that are brand new with salt, because their pH is already going to go up because of the plaster. Yeah. Then you have the salt cell. It's going to be better to have that tank than it is for you to hand dose it every week. Or maybe your viewers will do it more often, because they're there. But that's how I feel about it.
And you're putting in acid feeders into people's pools that have both plaster and salt. I'm assuming out in California it's mostly concrete plaster pools.
Mostly in-ground gunite pools.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're...
Yeah. But there's also vinyl liner ones.
Okay. But that's the companies that I worked at only sold vinyl liner pools on the East Coast.
So East Coast is major vinyl liner pools. And then West Coast is major gunite, but we still have, the fiberglass inserts and the vinyl liners as well.
Yeah.
And you could put those chemical feeders onto those pools too. It's just what I prefer, and I love working on the type of things I do, is when those builders put that a sense and dispense to read the pH to then tell the acid tank to feed it,
Right.
where you're doing little increments instead of, one big bash.
Now, do you, so somebody that does service or even startups and dealing with builders, you're telling people to put saltwater generators on their pool, right? Is it really because it's easier for the homeowner? Like we all know it is, right? But is it also easier on the service people? Because it's like they're not handling chlorine all day.
Well, not just that, they don't have to buy tabs, which are $1 million.
Right. Well, now, yeah, right.
If you can get them.
Sure. So is it only, okay.
So yeah, it definitely will help the servicer.
And because that's the same thing I feel like again, this is like a totally different industry, but like I hired pond service guys, and it was so interesting because I never had a pool guy in my house, right? Or a pool person in my house because I knew how to deal with pools. But them coming out, they put dosers on. They're putting beneficial bacteria dosers. Is it possible for somebody to come out as a service person and add salt water to their pool without having to the one about you're fine salt water, hey, we're just going to convert your pool to salt water because it's going to be easier on everybody.
It's not. I don't think it's that easy because of the cost that it takes up.
Right. So it's not so in the sense of the pond, it's like this little box. It just feeds right in the water. It's like super easy, right? It's just dosing. It's not actually in the plumbing system.
And the same thing goes for any chemical feeder on at least an
right.
pool is a lot of. Yes, you can get a tap feeder that you drill a couple holes in and it feeds into it. And an acid tank. Yeah, that's the same thing, but you still need these other things to read the pH to know it's time to
right.
pour in. Any of these chemical feeders, they're going to be at a cost for the homeowner, but in the long run, I feel it's going to pay off.
Right, for sure.
Because of the look of the pool and stuff. For the servicer, all of those things can work out great. I had a pool with a AOP system on it. I love AOP systems, which are the UV ozone peroxide. Mm-hmm. I was able to keep that pool at a 1 part per million of chlorine.
Right.
Because it kills everything else, and that was just the amount of chlorine I needed. So so as a service person, I'm using less chemicals.
Yeah. In the trucks, right? I'm sure it saves on gas and all the other things.
Yeah. An acid feeding tank, the costs for the tank itself and the pump that comes with it is cheaper than a salt cell. I always use Hayward stuff because that's what I know.
And that's, Elizabeth, New Jersey, baby, all day.
So a sense and dispense, you'll do the ORP and pH, and then you put the acid tank on, and I could sell that for a little bit more than a salt system.
Right.
If they don't have automation type of thing.
Okay.
But yes, anything that you could do for your servicer, I feel is going to make it so they don't have to raise prices on you as often, or as bad. Their visits aren't going to be as long. They just have to go there, check the chemicals, and I would always say take a look at the equipment to make sure it's running properly. Make sure it has regular maintenance. But I do not see those things being added to a system taking away from the servicer's job. Right. Meaning they could still make the money that they have been because someone has to watch it.
And just people don't want to deal with it, right? They just, again, it's all about sort of what I teach, which is I just want to use the pool, man. I don't know. I don't want to be a chemist. I don't even want to vacuum really. Yep. Right. I encourage everybody to buy a robotic cleaner, which is the second question I wanted to ask you, which is that a common thing? Cause I feel like nowadays, maybe not when I was doing service, in 2004 and beyond that, right. Or previously from that of robotic cleaners aren't where they are today. Is it right. Can you go and drop off a robotic cleaner, let it do its thing, and then come back and pick it up? Is that the way to do things now? Or is it actually faster to...
Oh, wait.
Okay.
I have something that you're going to laugh at. You're talking about how it wasn't efficient back in those years. My mom would do it. When she had her route, she would take cleaners to pools. Put it in whichever cleaner was, if it was a suction side.
Oh, really?
Side,
any robotic, not just robotic, any cleaner.
No, Any cleaner, because depends on the debris.
100%.
But she would go put the cleaner in, go to the pool next door, 2 houses down, come back, it would be clean, and it would help her cut down her cleaning time.
Right.
And that's back when you had those old it was like an artisan. It looked like it had the round piece at the top and it had the tails going all the way to the bottom. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember seeing those and they were trying to get rid of them.
Okay. So nowadays.
But yeah, you could get a robotic, put it in there, and then go to the neighbor's house or around the corner, come back, and I would think that would work great.
Well, because you're only doing startups. So does that make sense to do for thing to even consider? Like, is it faster for a person to just...
It makes sense to me.
Because do you follow the guy on, I guess Instagram, TikTok, YouTube that cleans pools in the UK and is like a mega hit?
No.
Oh, you don't know who I'm talking about?
I didn't even know about him.
Oh.
No.
Oh my God. Believe it's Mr. Pool Guy, but it's spelled, I think there's a 0 where there should be an O in pool. Okay. So, all right. All right. So there's a guy.
I'm going to have to look him up.
He's on Instagram. He's on TikTok. He's on YouTube. And his videos are just cleaning pools. And it's, I don't want to say it's like ASMR, but it's like, there's some psychological thing where we need to see something go from like very dirty to very clean as like a society on,
Okay.
And so what he does, and I guess this is common, right? This is not, and we never did this, but it was, he would bring his own like cart with its own pump system and everything. And that's how he would vacuum. He would never hook it up to the homeowner's pump.
That's the old school way.
That's the old school way.
Oh yeah, my parents had a pump and a filter. There's tons of people with that. Even they would
drag like a cart in and do it because it's like that's way more powerful.
Like a dolly with a single cartridge filter and a pump. Yeah. Or what they'll do is like I call it a trash pump. It's different. It's a TriStar pump that I quarterback with.
Well,
they have filters and people will do that like on cleanups, like green to cleans, because their systems aren't good enough.
That's what he does.
Use theirs.
Green to cleans.
And then some people, they use it on like the weekly service because they're like, okay, I still want to take care of this pool and make the money, but their system isn't good enough for what I need to do.
It's like
Yep.
Wow.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's...
My parents had one that we used on our above-ground pool, and then when they needed it for work, they had quick releases for everything.
Yep.
And then they go use it and then bring it back.
Cool. You got to see this guy's videos. Then. It's all he does is green to clean.
I'm going to have to. I guess the one that I know about and we follow is what is it? The pool boy.
Is it the guy in Louisiana?
The pool boy in the house.
I thought
he's in Jersey.
Oh, he's in Jersey. So there's another guy that I follow in Louisiana, and it's so funny because we were watching that guy, and he was previewed in the New York Times. Like he was like, he got really big. I mean, his stuff is like he's in the millions of followers and stuff. And I kind of thought, who wants to watch? Like to me, I'm like, who wants to watch this? Like I. And then, like, we were just sitting in bed, the two of us, and we're just, like, going through his videos, and we were just, all of a sudden, it was, like, 2 hours later. We're like, oh, my God. What the? We just watched this guy clean, like, 50 pools. It's unbelievable.
Hey, and there are probably people who do that to your YouTube channel where they sit there for hours and watch your videos.
I can't imagine.
Now you guys need to have your Instagram brother do TikToks for you so you can have things and be like, oh, here's a little quick view that could come to our YouTube channel or come to our website.
Yeah, we are, because we're doing Instagram, we also are doing TikTok because they're now the same thing, right? So we're just doing short tips, right? Short homeowner pool cleaning and pool maintenance tips and just seeing how it goes. We don't know. I don't know. It might.
So I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was wondering, with your videos, do you have for salt pools? Do you have like a maintenance or how to clean a salt cell, or anything along that lines for homeowners?
No, we don't have anything about cleaning a salt cell.
You need that one. I would be, again, I probably would have shared that video 5 times.
It's on the list. We have a very long list of things to create, and it's definitely on there. But yeah, we don't have anything. Do you have any? Well, like what's the quickest move to cleaning a salt cell? Can you do it on the spot, or you got to do an overnight? So yeah.
No, I would recommend with the salt cells that you're cleaning to get whatever they use for like a stand. Not all of them do, because I know I cleaned a Jandy one at one point where I had to hold it in the acid water mixture because of the plates. But if you have like a Hayward or a Pentair, they have actual stands. So you take the unions off, put the stand on one end of the thing, set it down. And then what I do is in a bucket, I mix the acid water mixture, pour it in, and then watch it until it starts to slow down in what I call kind of like the carbonation of soda. But I don't, when it comes to homeowners asking how to do it, I tell them just have a professional do it, because if they mess it up, then they have to buy you a new one.
Yeah.
Because it's too hard for me to explain it to them without me showing them. I think a video where they can actually see what they're looking for in that, especially when to stop using that mixture, I think it would work out great. And the video wouldn't, you can make a TikTok out of it probably.
So it's yeah. Or like, could it be animated? Because we're doing a lot of animated videos nowadays.
Partially
I was gonna say it could be tough.
I think the bubble part needs, the bubble part's the part that I think the homeowner really needs to see. Yeah. Because, I don't want them to leave that mixture on there too long and it damaged, but I don't want them to not leave it on long enough and it doesn't get it. Okay, it's on the list. We're just gonna have to do it. You do it, and then we'll feature you in the video and say, "This is." I could do that. I tried doing videos. I tried doing videos on my Instagram and some TikToks of me taking equipment out and stuff, because I'm a girl and most women, they don't see women doing what I do. I went to the Long Beach show. We went out to dinner with a plaster company in my area and some other companies and my reps. And they had their nephew there. So they're a family of plasters. So they have their nephew's like in Southern California, and then all of us up here. And he was telling his nephew, he's like, yeah, she does what men do. And it's a Hispanic family. Sure. And he's like, what? And his uncle's like, no, she goes and she repairs and she installs and she does all this like men. And that's where I kind of got the let's do videos, because I had to literally show him a picture of what I've done for him to like really process. Yeah, to grasp it. Yeah. Yeah, you should keep doing it. Yeah, no, I think that would be. I try. It's hard sometimes. Yeah, well, I mean, because you got. Or I forget. You have actual work to do, and then it's like, oh, and I have to get out my phone and document it. That's, and then I have to go home and edit it, and then I got to also post it. And I need to do all of this in the limited time I have while my kids are at school. Yeah. No, you absolutely would need like an editor or somebody to do it. You just need to like get it caught on camera and then like send it off and then have it just automatically happen. Oh, I wish. So when my kids are falling asleep, that's my TikTok time. So or Instagram, so if I have any pictures or anything, that's when I'll do it. Yeah. Because it's like, oh my God, when will my 3-year-old pass out? Like, come on. Does it actually help business at all? Have you had any like convert? I actually have a lot of people who see me online. I have a guy that last week, he sent a customer to me to do a startup because he doesn't do them. And he told the customer, I don't personally know her, but I've seen her work and she does a great job. So I recommend her. God. So I went there, ended up doing the startup. He ends up calling me like 2 days later. He's like, yeah, I follow you on Instagram and Facebook and I listen to your podcast and, everything I see is great. Like, I'm going to send all my startups to you, because he knows I do Hayward stuff. Like I do all the manufacturing. Sure. But predominantly Hayward. He's like, I like putting in Pentair, but I can't get a Pentair pump in. So I'm going to have you put a Hayward pump in. And I'm like, well, why don't you just do it? Like, I'll teach you, stuff like that. And he's like, no, we'll just have you do it. But I'll get people who follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and especially because of the Hayward questions, they have trouble their reps are their areas are really broad, so they can't get to everybody, and they'll call me from across the country because of my Instagram.
It sounds like a win.
And of course, the podcast even has done better because they get to hear me, and it's not just, oh, she posted this picture. It's like, no, she actually knows.
Right, and the longer they get to hear you, and the more they get to hear you, the more they get to trust you, the more they're like, okay, she knows what she's talking about. This is the way to go.
Just like with you and your website and your
it's
YouTube,
just time.
They keep seeing you do it.
Yeah, consistency.
And they do what you say, and it works.
And it works. Yeah, magically they're like, it worked. Let's go figure. I'm like, millions of pools I've had to help.
You're like, I'm not talking out of my ass. I promise.
No, I hope not, because then every friend's parent would be like, this 13-year-old boy knows jack shit about pools. I'm never going back to the store again. Your friend Matt is an idiot.
So obviously, you get a lot of people coming. They get this equipment put onto their pool. They think it's a salt pool and it's not a chlorine pool. Do you think that maybe this is something that whoever sold them the equipment, they really need to educate the homeowner on what exactly it is? And not in detail, but at least understand, like, you're still creating chlorine here. You're still going to have to use chlorine sometimes.
I immediately, as you were talking, I shook my head no. And then I remembered every salesperson that I worked with who were selling in-ground pools to people. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they were absolutely selling this dream of it's chlorine free. You will never have to touch your pool, because they're just trying to get an in-ground pool built, right? They don't.
Yes. They're just the builder.
Because the homeowners, like, imagine buying a car. And I always compare pools to cars. Imagine buying a car and you're like, all right, I'm buying this brand new car. How much am I going to have to work on it? Like, am I going to have to constantly change the oil every month? This is a lot of work. No. This is state-of-the-art car. There's no oil in it. You will never. You don't have to put gas in it. It's a perfect car. You don't have to do anything. Like, you just freaking buy the car. Okay, I don't care. Whatever it takes to sell the car. And then they get it and they're like, oh no, it is actual work, because at that point the pool's already in the ground. They can't take it back, right? So I absolutely think it is not the fault of the pool service industry. Obviously, I don't think it's even possible, because we all know. No, we're going to be honest with our customers. The people who are not honest with their customers are the people who build pools. And I'm not saying that in a negative way.
All of them, but
no.
Some
I'm not even saying like that in a bad or negative way. I'm just saying you got to make the sale. I understand that. Like, the more pools that get in the ground, is a rising tide lifts all boats. We're all on board. But that is where
my favorite.
That's the line.
My favorite is when a builder sells a tab feeder onto a pool that's only 5,000 gallons.
Why is it the best?
Sorry. Because the homeowner thinks that there should be tabs in that. And a lot of times one tab is too much for that pool.
Yeah.
Too much. Yeah. Like, you don't need a tab feeder.
But they're selling the hands-off approach, because that is what sells pools. It's not the maintenance of it, it's the lifestyle of it. So you're going to do whatever it takes to sell that pool, and I understand that, because most people who dream about owning a pool probably have never owned a pool before, because then they probably wouldn't want one.
Yes.
Like me. Like, I don't have a pool. I'm not installing a pool because I know I'm going to have to take care of it. Right? So,
yeah.
Not that we will.
It's like a puppy.
Yeah, and you know what? We're probably going to get a pool. It's probably going to happen. See,
it's like a puppy.
It's exactly like a puppy, where it's like, I know they're a lot of work, but they bring you a lot of joy. And so I think that.
And then you don't have to worry about renting these places in Colorado to make your videos.
No, that's the thing. That's reason number probably one. Number two is the swim in it. Number one is like, it's a write-off for me. But but I'm gonna have to take care of it, because God forbid I'm a guy who owns a pool company and has to hire another pool company to take care of his pool. I mean, I don't know. That's probably a thing. It's probably. I can't be alone in that.
It's a thing. I know reps that have to get pool guys. I know people who own plaster companies that they get pool guys, and it's just because they don't have the time to do everything. They may be able. They may like going there and cleaning the baskets out, skimming the surface, that part. But when it comes to like the chemicals and making sure the equipment works, they don't have to.
Yeah, and
so
to go back, and again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I just think that that's where the lie starts, and for good reason.
Yeah.
It's like no one wants to be sold. Yeah. Okay. Look, you're going to have salt in your water. Okay. You're going to have to bring it up to pasta water, salinity levels. And it's going to be real chlorine. And it's also going to require you adding other chemicals, pH, alkalinity, all these things. So it's like no one's selling the maintenance part of owning a pool ownership. So of course that's where it is. And then I guess there's other people who move into homes, right? And they're just passed down the lie, right? And I mean lie in a nice way, right?
They see this like vision of, I have a nice pool. We use it in the summertime. We just swim and relax.
It's easy. So like the homeowner goes, it's a saltwater pool. All you can do is hit a button. It's super chlorinated. It's fine. You just got to add a little salt. It's like you just got to put a little salt in the water every now and then. But even doing that is work. It's so if I were to disseminate where the idea that like saltwater pools are their own thing and salt is what actually sanitizes and not actually chlorine, that would be my guess as to where the source comes from is the sales of salt water. Of the idea of saltwater, right? It's in the.
No, I think that's right.
Yeah.
On, to be honest.
And again, that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
And I think also friends of people.
Oh yeah, no.
Maybe they're.
It permeates, right? It's not just like.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Even this homeowner was like, "Don't worry about it. It's saltwater." I'm like, "Yeah, no." I will. It's like I tested the water today. It was 5 parts per million of chlorine. Like, there's a lot of chlorine in that water. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then one thing I do see like on the startup part with these new builds, because I do orientations as well, is I let them know, hey, we're going to start at 50%, but you're going to have to kind of like this is going to be a balancing act over a few weeks to see where your target is.
Right.
Well, everything should be, turnkey right now when you give it to me like I bought a car. I'm like, yes and no.
Right. It's like how
this is like you kind of bought a used car.
Well, that's the thing is like that is where the difference is, because every car is really the same, right? The same, if it's manufactured in the same year, but that's not how every single pool is unique and different.
Yeah.
Right. They're all plumbed different.
It's like a
person. They're all built differently. And they're just, you know what? Now I'm thinking I don't really have a good analogy for them. Maybe lawns? Maybe I don't have because like I get those questions a lot too, where it's like, what does this valve do? And that's through the internet. What's this valve do? I'm like, how am I supposed to know? I mean, like, I go, you got to test it.
It's called test it out.
Yeah, you got to put your hand against
on the job
things.
Training.
I'm like, I have no idea.
Yep.
Even if you sent me a picture of your filter system, I still wouldn't know.
You will have no idea.
You could send me a picture of your filter system, your returns, your skimmers. I literally would have to put my hand against things to feel suction and pressure and just to see what was doing what and turning valves and and that's really one of the hardest things too to help people with, because like it's like a lot of people, even if they bought the pool and they didn't get they didn't get a good orientation, or they didn't hire somebody like you to come out and give them an orientation. They just moved in and they're like, what am I dealing with? What is this? And it's
that happens a lot. Actually,
I
went to a pool today where the pool's a year old and they had no idea how to use the automation system. And I was like, well, did you get an orientation? Oh, all the orientation was read the manual. I'm like, Manuals aren't always
No,
great.
no.
I'm sorry. The manufacturers, maybe because there's a lot of information you got put in there, but
no, it is good to have somebody come out and kind of like give you a lay of the land. If you even whether you move into a house or you get a new pool installed, you just you know, it's like you don't want to become an expert because that's our job, right? They just want to swim at the end of the day, and I think, it's a very fascinating industry. I'm constantly thinking about it, you know, not from just a, you know, internet person or somebody that's been doing it their whole lives, but also just from a, how does this compare to every other industry that I study? It's very different.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've had quite the talk.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Say it again.
I said we've had quite the talk.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Is there anything else you'd like to? No, you're fine. This is good. We like conversation here. Is there anything else you'd like to tell people that you think might be needed to know, or advice when it comes to salt pools when they deal with their customers, or even a homeowner if they were to hear this?
Yeah, I was gonna say no, but yeah. Be patient and nice, because not everyone is an expert. Not everyone this is not like a thing that we all know and everyone should know. It is a very industry specific thing. And even though I get so angry, like I get one comment and I'm just like, you idiot, it's this. That's my first reaction, because we hear it multiple times a day. They're saying it for the first time ever. So yeah, patience, empathy, kindness. I don't know. That's all I got.
No, I think that's great, because our industry, sometimes it does take time to figure things out, because like you said, every pool is different. Every pool, even if it's the two, let's say there are two plans exactly the same, your neighbors, and they're still different.
100%.
So how do people find you so they can follow you and learn and see what little videos you make and stuff?
SwimUniversity.com. That's the home base. And we have a YouTube channel, and we have we're starting an Instagram. We're trying to start an Instagram. We're trying to move into that realm and seeing what happens there. Just testing the waters.
Once you get in, it gets addicting.
Yeah. I do it for homebrew. I'm a home brewer as like as a human being. Like I make my own beer in my garage. Uh-huh. So that is a whole Instagram thing that I've run down. And so I was like, oh, okay. You know, like now I feel like as more people who are younger are owning pools now, since in the last 2 years, to be honest, I feel like now Instagram and TikTok, weirdly, I never thought I would ever consider TikTok to be a platform for me. But I think there's a wide range, a wide age range on TikTok, more than even Instagram.
Yes.
Which is great.
Here's something to help you.
Yeah.
I had a customer. His daughter found me on TikTok, then found my Instagram. So then he called me, and I had to he had me replace all of his equipment.
I mean,
so that shows.
I mean, that's a reason enough to be. And oh my God, if more, people in the pool industry were on these platforms and use them and were creative. Oh my God, that would delight me more than anything.
Mm-hmm. We need to unite more than put
oh my
people
God.
down.
The fact that there's even a podcast called Talking Pools is delights me. It's just I feel like I've been alone in the internet world for, there's people, there's obviously people.
Yeah.
But the fact that you reached out, I was like, oh, it's like it's validating, and it's good that it's good that this industry is. It feels like it's moving in the right direction as far as like the internet age, which is nice.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm so happy that you were willing to come on today.
Yeah,
like I said, this is a great chat that I've had with you on things.
Cool. I appreciate it, and thank you. It was great. I loved it.
So thank you, everyone, for listening. Please like us, rate us, find us on social media, Talking Pools Podcast Network. You can find Matt on swipuniversity.com, which also includes, he has the YouTube channel as well that you can subscribe to. If you have anything you would like us to talk about, please let us know. Message us or send us an email on talkingpools@gmail.com. And again, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.